Hey everyone, today I'll show you how to use After Effects and Gaussian Splatting along with our new free After Effects plugin to create this dynamic dissolve effect. If you have no idea where to get started with Gaussian Splatting, all you need is a subject, a mobile phone, and the KIRI Engine app. Our main channel is full of useful tips and we have this dedicated video on scanning a person, so you might want to pause this video and go check that one out first. After capturing my subject and uploading the data to KIRI Engine, a full Gaussian Splat scan is returned. I can use the export function to download my scan. And if you don't have a good subject to scan right now, there are free models to download too. Once downloaded, you'll find your scan as a PLY file. You'll then need to download the After Effects plugin by searching for KIRI Engine Tools or KIRI Engine After Effects. In the plugin downloads, you'll find a couple of files that need copy and pasted into the After Effects plugins folder. If you need help on the location, check the plugin's written documentation. I know I want to transition from one scan into another, so I have 3 copies of the same model in different poses. The raw scans include the background of the scene I scanned. Usually this is exactly what we want for a photoreal world, but in this case I only care about the subject, so I'm going to need to do some editing. You can edit in Super Splat, inside the KIRI Engine app, in PostShot, whatever tools you're comfortable with. I'll be using Super Splat to perform large bulk edits like removing the background since it's very fast and responsive, and then I'll move into Blender to do some more fine-grained edits. If you don't want to edit your model, don't worry, you can skip this part and jump straight into importing into After Effects. You can see the progression here from raw scan to bulk edits to fine edits. And to make my life in After Effects even easier, I'm aligning the origin of each of the models in Super Splat. This means moving the figures so they're all standing on the floor and rotating them to face in the same direction, as well as moving all the models to the center of the world. To get our scans into After Effects, I'll create a new composition, then create a new solid layer. Name it whatever you like and hit OK. And I'll then create a new camera and hit OK. I then drag and drop one of my PLY files into my composition, and selecting the solid, I'll add the effect KIRI Innovations KIRI Gaussian Splatting, but bear in mind it's possible the name might change before release. Then in the effect controls for the solid, I'll go to the select footage and select my PLY file. I can see something's popped up in the composition preview, and I can use the controls under transform to move the scan into the center of my view. I shouldn't need to touch the controls under align since I previously set the origin of my scans in Super Splat, but if your scan is rotating or moving weird, you might want to check those out. I'll shift from one view into 2 views, so it's easier to set an initial view for my camera. I usually find it easiest from the left or right or top views to set the camera position and set the point of interest to our model. Now I'll duplicate the solid layer and drag in my remaining PLY scans, and for those other solid layers, set the source footage to those other PLY files. I now have all of my scans inside After Effects. Full disclaimer, I'm a bit of an After Effects newbie, so it might be painful watching me deal with cameras here. If anyone has some nice camera tips or a good camera tutorial, please let me know down below. What I'm doing here is finding a starting position for my first model. If I toggle visibility between my first scan and another scan, I can see that with the camera on the right hand side, the first scan looks great, but the other scans don't look so good. I'll add keyframes for the camera's position and point of interest to lock this first position. Then I'll find a new camera position where one of our other scans looks good. By jumping to a new point in the timeline and moving the camera, it'll automatically add new keyframes. Then once done, I'll check the motion between the first set of keyframes and the second position. These camera motions won't be final, I'll tweak them more later, but they will help me adjust the timings of my transition animations. Once camera positions 1 and 2 are done, I'll look for a final position for my last scan. Once done, I'll check the whole motion between positions 1, 2, and 3. If you notice that your camera motion is very linear and it has moments where it seems to drastically shift direction, you might need to smooth the camera path. It's good to do this when viewing top view, and then choosing the pen tool, and then clicking points on the camera path. You can also adjust the handles either side of each point to adjust the transition from point to point. Now for our dissolve effects, I'm looking for a point on the timeline between our first and second scans. Then in the Gaussian Splatting Plugin, I'll find the Effect tab, and below this open Noise. The noise effect can be enabled with the checkbox, but I don't see anything yet. If I crank up the strength, I can see that there's something coming from the bottom of the model. This is because we placed our scan's origins at the model's feet. I can see this more clearly in the front view. I can shift the origin of the effect by playing with the noise shape center values. I'll do this until the center is around her head. To get a better idea about where the center of the effect is, I can make the shape size smaller and play with the strength, and then try adjusting the location. The noise persistence and linearity can be dialed in more to get an effect you like. Now playing with the strength, I'll preview how my scan will look as it dissolves. Then I'll keyframe the noise strength reaching 100 when I want my second scan starting to appear. To shrink each point, I go to Splat Scale and enable the effect. And since I want to scale all splats together equally, I flatten the ramp. If I wanted the scale effect to have a gradient, I could use this ramp to do that. I then use the scale size value to adjust the scale of all the points. And I keyframe the value to go from 100% scale down to 0, matching the current timeline keyframes we have from our noise effect. Now as noise increases and our points spread out, they also start to shrink and disappear. We can do the exact same for the opacity of each point under the opacity tab, enabling the effect with the checkbox, then flattening the ramp and playing with the max opacity values. I'll keyframe this from 100% to 0%, just like our splat scale. Now as noise increases, the opacity and the scale of each point decreases until they disappear. To make the effect more dramatic, let's change the color too. Under Render, tick Color Enable. Just like our noise effect, we can see that the color changes are focused around the scan's origin. So I use the color shape center to bring it up to the head, and use the color shape size to see the center more clearly. We want the color effect to get stronger as our noise effect grows. So like splat scale and opacity, I'll be keyframing the color shape scale to go from 0 to 100% throughout the transition effect. The transition looks good, but I don't like the colors. So I'll click one of the tabs under color gradient and choose a new color. And do the same for the other tab. Now that all the effects have been added, for our first scan to disappear, we want to add the same effects to our second scan, but in reverse. So we keyframe maximum noise going from 100% to 0, and minimal scale and opacity going from 0 to 100%. We then adjust the timing of the effects, the position of the keyframes, all very boring to watch stuff, so I won't go over it here, just play and have fun. We then repeat the process to also move from our second scan and camera position into our third and final camera position. After all these adjustments, I have something that looks like this. Now let's add some depth of field to our render. If I check this moment when the particles fly directly towards the camera, this moment could really benefit from some depth of field. So in the plugin, I find the Advanced tab and Depth of Field. I enable the effect with the checkbox and play with the blur and aperture settings. I then adjust the focus point with focus distance. I'll keyframe the focus distance to make sure that my scan stays in focus as the camera moves. I'll make sure I do this for each of my scans from first to last, and I could also keyframe the aperture or blur value if I wanted to vary the effect sometimes. To finalize the animation, I later imported another Gaussian Splat scan to work as a background. I then added some color correction and some glow effects and got something like this. Add in some sound effects and some music and we've got something pretty cool. Okay, I hope this tutorial was helpful for you guys. I hope you loved the plugin, and if you need any help at all, don't hesitate to shoot us a message. Until next time, stay creative.